Hello everyone and welcome to my cruise channel. Today we're going to talk about my time in SeaWorld Orlando. Now before I get into all that, I must ask, if you like this video, if you find it at all helpful, please hit the like and subscribe buttons below. Alright, so let's get to it. Now there's definitely pros and cons to doing this excursion, but we'll get into that later on in the video. First up, we're going to go see one of my favorite spots, which was the aquarium. And this was actually one of the coolest shots that I was so excited to get. This is actually a ray that just happened to be passing by me. Now, one of the things that I loved about being in this aquarium, other than its huge size, was the fact that the creatures seemed totally and completely comfortable with humans being around them and taking pictures and things like that. As you can see, I made some friends with the stingrays, which was actually really, really cool. I was so excited to actually be there. And this was one of my family's favorite parts of our time in SeaWorld. Next up was one of my mom's favorite attractions in the park, and that was going to see the penguins over at the Alaska exhibit. I'm not quite sure what the name of the exhibit was, but it was actually really cool because they did a life-size reproduction of what it would be like to be in the Arctic and all that, and we loved seeing the penguins. Up next is mine and Sophie's favorite attraction, Journey to Atlantis. Now, Sophie and I were scared to go on this ride, and it was actually hysterical to see Sophie on this ride. She was very entertaining the entire time, but we definitely made it through and we loved it. It was one of our favorite bonding experiences the entire trip. Now next up is the dolphin nursery. This just happens to be a walk-by attraction, so you can see, and anybody can see the dolphins. And I was actually excited to see this attraction as well. I really wanted to see the dolphin show, however, we didn't have enough time to see that show, so I'm glad I got to spend some time up close and personal. But we did get to see the sea lion show, which was one of my favorite parts of the entire trip. I wanted so badly to see one of the shows, and I knew that Sophie would love it. And I'm glad that we got to see it. However, it was not the show that we wanted to see. But it was nice to see the sea lions. They are so well trained. Oh, I just wanted to reach over and hug them, but I knew that the staff would probably not be too kind to me if I did that. So unfortunately, I had to restrain myself a little bit there. With that said, there were some pros and cons to this excursion. So one of the pros was the educational opportunities that are available to families. It was definitely quite an experience, and I'm glad that we got to be up close and personal with some of the fish and some of the other animals that were in the park as well. However, we didn't get to really do much because of time constraints, and I really wish we had more time. First of all, we got into port late, which was not the fault of SeaWorld, but there weren't any maps available. And for an excursion that's probably about an hour away from our terminal, that could have saved us a lot of time. I kid you not, we spent about an hour and a half walking around the park, not knowing where we were going. And we were asking for things that weren't exactly hard to find, but again, there were no maps, and the staff didn't really seem trained in how to handle that. So I think if there were maps available or if they had better markings for things around the park, or if they had staff that was better trained on how to interact with the customers. I really think that our time in SeaWorld could have been much better spent for the price that we paid to get in. Also, they did have us they did have 3 free meals available to us. However, it never said on the ticket or anywhere where we could redeem those vouchers, which would have saved us even more time and we would have been able to do more things. So my suggestion is, if you decide to go to SeaWorld Orlando on a cruise, I would definitely prioritize the attractions that you want to see, as well as download the SeaWorld app. It's available for free on most platforms. And that's about all I have tips for. So again, if you like this video, if you find it at all helpful, please hit the like and subscribe buttons below. And as always, bon voyage!